Hi, everyone. It's Joseph Whitnick coming to you from iConixxx. And tonight, today, this morning, this afternoon, whenever you choose to watch this, this will be one that you're going to want to share. And as I always say, I'm going to say this right away. There's going to be, if you're a stylist that really likes history or knowing where certain things come from, as many of us do, we like to say, oh, guess what? I know who invented the pen. Or I know who invented the ombre. She's below us in a square. So with that being said, always remember to have paper, pen, because, you know, if something is said or mentioned, a quote, a book, or something that maybe our guest is going to talk about, you certainly may want to write that down, because captivate this if you can, please. And on top of that, I am going to introduce to you kind of like a sister from another mother slash stylist friend slash Chris Sorby slash, and she and I together have now put together a series of documentaries that we encourage you to check out and share, because we are truly making history and trying to gather as many icons as we can before, you know, the bus comes and picks us up. But we won't go there right now. With that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Chris Sorby. Chris Sorby from Oxford, England. How are you this evening?
Great. Thank you, Joseph. Wonderful to see you again, and delighted to have a very, very special person with us today. And she's a lady who has had 40 years in our industry. She's a respected artist, entrepreneur, author, and inventor. The 80s saw her develop compass cutting, her own system of hair cutting. You might by now already know who she is, but hang on. She helped build brands like Redken NYC, L'Oreal Professional, Wella Sebastian, Joico, Pivot Point, and Regis, to name but a few. She co-founded Pravana, became Senior Vice President of Education for the P&G Salon Professional, then defined branded education for Wella Sebastian and Nioxin. Today, she's the CEO and founder of Atar Gold. Meet the remarkable Teri Donnelly.
Man.
Thank you, everybody. Hello. Woo. Thank you so much. Great to be here with you guys.
Oh,
Exhausted.
it's so...
You must be exhausted.
I love the virtual world.
Yeah, still got a face. Got to get a face on though, even in our.
I'm already into your house and kind of like checking out.
Well, this is our studio. This is where we work. So, Teri, I'm going to kick it off with a question to you. That is, what is the most important lesson that life has taught you?
Oh God, you're really a zinger. Never to give up. Never to give up. It might be a Capricorn thing, but you know, I think it's just who I am. It's like I can remember as a little girl, literally getting thrown off the horse. And, you know, my father was a horseman, and he would always say, you know, get off that horse. And so I just lost something here on the screen. Can you guys still see me?
Yeah, I'm just going to interrupt you though, Teri, and ask Tony Beckerman if he could please turn up his video, because we are recording.
Oh, I know.
You want it on?
We would like you to turn it off.
It's not on.
Okay, then if you could also turn off your microphone, that would be great. For some reason, we can see you on the screen.
Oh.
I can't see him though.
Oh, you can't, Joseph? Okay, that's cool. Anyway,
welcome,
Tony. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. I wouldn't miss anything that Teri does.
There you go, see?
That's so cute. I love it. Who is Tony, Teri?
Tony Beckerman is a remarkable man that I almost met 40 years ago Tony was Vidal's junior at 16 years old and started at Bond Street in London. And he really built the Vidal Sassoon education in America. And so when I went to Vidal Sassoon Beauty School in 75, I was third graduating class and Tony was running the school. He left on a Friday and I started on a Monday, and 10 years later we met.
Oh, wow.
And we are business partners now.
And now we're business partners throughout.
I love that. Something is telling me that we may need Tony.
Yeah.
Not now. I mean,
we see his name, but you should really interview Tony at some point.
yes.
Do you want me to turn? I'm trying to turn off something, and I don't know what to turn off.
Well, actually, Tony, you don't need to worry about it because Joseph is recording his screen, and he doesn't see you.
Yeah, Tony, you're fine. You're fine, buddy. But don't you go anywhere. And if you do, please let us know, because I'm hunting you down now for an interview in the Icons, because I have a feeling that you are definitely someone that stylists would like to know about. So thank you for being here, and don't you go anywhere. Or
I won't go anywhere, but this is all about Teri, not about me.
Yes, it is. So back to Teri. So, all right, edit, cut, and question.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
So you would say, Teri, that the most important thing lesson that life has taught you is never to give up, or if you fall off your horse, get your butt back on it and keep
back on it. That's right. You know what? And Tony will attest to this, and I'm sure, yes, you come from a long history of great training. And, you know, we used to, you know, when a hairdresser gets a pair of scissors or something in their hand, we tend to grab it as if it's, you know, we're going to cut paper. And so then you kind of bend over and your butt is sticking out and you start to try to cut hair like this. And, you know, you have people come by with a little swat saying, you know, pull that in and turn it this way. And then all of a sudden you start to, you know, constantly have to get back into it and reinvent yourself. And so you get there by somebody saying, get back on the horse. So I learned that. And so I would probably say that's probably what I do for others, is to say, don't give up, keep going.
Cool, thank you.
I love the whole butt thing, Teri. I would like.
It's actually a true story. You used to get your butt with whipped.
Why did I have a visual of art class? My teacher, but we don't need to go there. Okay. I want to take me back, please. Take us back to on a field trip back to the days of what made you, other than a beard, what inspired you to go into hair school?
Well, see, nobody's going to understand that now. See, so
as they shouldn't, because now they're going to want to wait till the end.
Okay, so yes, let's just say I like hair. What inspired me to be a hairdresser? Is that where we're going? Okay, yep. I was a teen model. I worked construction. I was a waitress, and then I just started cutting hair. You know, it's like other people's hair, and I thought, well, I really like this. I think I want to be a hairdresser. So I thought maybe I'd go to barber college because it was just about cutting hair for me. And then back to, Chris, surrounded by beautiful men, I had kind of a crush on a guy. His name was Roman in San Francisco. And I thought, well, I'll just stop by and see Roman. And, he had good looking hair. And I said, where do you get your hair done? And he said, I get it done at the Vidal Sassoon School down on Ellis Street. And I said, well, what's that? So I checked it out, and I actually was interviewed. Tony was gone, and I got interviewed by Max Papier, who's another one of the British infiltrators of the revolution, if you will, because that's really was the time. It's all about timing. That was the time in 1975 in San Francisco when the Vidal Sassoon organization was just pumping into America, and it was just taking off. And I just happened, thank you, Roman, and I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. I had long hair and I was a hippie. And, you know, it was like, why do you want to become a hairdresser? And I said, because I like cutting hair. And they said, then get a haircut. And so I did. And I started cutting hair. And I was in an amazing, how many people get to say this? And it's absolutely true. I loved beauty school. I was so, to this day, honest engine, to this day, nothing has compared to my beauty school.
Wow.
And who gets to really say that? And that's because it was really different.
Wow. I love that. Yeah, I don't think I have ever. Have you ever heard that, Chris? Come on.
Well, I loved beauty school as well, but I know what you're saying, Teri. I mean, definitely. So you were at the Vidal Sassoon school.
Yes, but it's the format, and it's very much what you guys are doing here with icons. So because I was in beauty school, and it was also an advanced academy. So I went to beauty school where one side of the building was, you know, a few of us going through beauty school, but it was connected. It wasn't separate. So you could always go over and see hairdressers from all over the world. And we're talking like, Tony could tell you, I don't know, was it about 75 chairs, Tony? How many was it?
Yeah, there was about 50 chairs in the basic school, and it was only about 10 or 15 in the advanced, and that was because we had to have a percentage. It wasn't allowed to be done at that time, so it was all in transition. But yeah, it was big, crazy, creative, and fun.
So you know, every day at the end of the day, there was a demo room. And we always had a guest artist come in every day from the salon. And so you just saw stylists that were just absolutely amazing. And then at the same time, you had all these incredible people coming from London that had to be, you know, get their license in California. So then they would spend time in the school. So it's because, not so much just beauty school, but it was actually the format and the ability to be around so much talent at my infancy that I actually thought the whole beauty industry was like that. So when I got out of beauty school, I thought, hey, I'll just go be a stylist. And it was like, whoa, it blew my mind. I was like, where am I? And I just made a U-turn and ran so fast back to the world of teaching and training. And so I never really took the course of being a stylist behind the chair. I went right into teaching.
Wow.
And how well you do that, Teri.
Oh,
so
you.
Besides your dad making you get up off the ground and get your butt back into the saddle, what else do you owe your parents?
What else about my parents?
Yeah, what do you owe your parents?
Well, that's an absolute, now you're going to make me cry. So I take care of my mother right now. My mother has dementia. She's 93, just had a birthday. Audrey. And people that know me, that are close to me, they know Audrey. And she is so delightful. And she has my #1 fan.
Is it fair for me to say, not to interrupt you, Chris, but I swear you look like your mother.
Oh, thank you. I have her legs and I have her humor and I think I have her lips. That's good.
And does she live with you, Teri? Are you taking care of her?
Yes. So there's a caregiver there, and you know, this is really something that really touches my heart because I've been doing this now for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
And well, you know, so and I think in Europe maybe it's different, Chris, but I think you know, as we get older, I think the elderly sometimes are forgotten, and uh, they're so. I always liked old people when I was a little kid. You know, they were. I don't know. It's just whether it's you know, the wisdom, but it's also a life, and so you know, it's about giving back and taking care of the ones that take care of you.
Mhm. That's beautiful, beautiful. And I'm sure it's not an easy job every day.
Oh no, because you know, when you deal with any kind of disability, and you know, we're all probably going to have something, so you know, keep your health. And you know, but she has a great sense of humor, and she's actually easier to be with than a lot of other people that I know.
Well, you're blessed then. Oh,
Yeah.
that's lovely.
Yeah.
That's lovely. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I miss my mother. So you are lucky to
Yeah.
have your mom around right now. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful thing. And you know what? You carry in your backpack a world of education. It's crazy. And I don't apologize for anything because I'm given, you know, what I'm given to read or what I'm given to view is what I'm supposed to at that moment. And I remember way back when, it was just a couple years ago, when we met, you know what?
You and I.
Yeah, you and I. I
20
want to tell
years.
you the stories that I have told when people ask me about how I got to be where I was, Chris. I always, you know, American Idol, right?
Of course.
Of course you do. Of course. Well, I always kind of contribute that to how it happened that I met Teri, because it was sort of like hair American Idol. Because you stood in these long lines waiting for your audition with a model that was half cut from 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Don't be offensive. I mean, I'm not trying to be offensive, but you really did have major diarrhea for a couple days. And I mean, it was an amazing dietary way to lose weight. Waited to like audition in front of this young lady. Didn't even really know what I was getting myself into, but I was kind of pushed into it by a Redken sales rep who said, you've got to do this, you've got to do this. And I thought, oh my God, I'd never in a million years. And it was. Teri was like Simon, because when you walked in the room was dark. There was a little square that was lit way in the distance. And then she sat at a table with two others that I don't remember who they were. They all wore black, so they blended into the blackness of the room. So you really didn't see them at all. You just heard voices.
Oh my God.
And it was really the most memorable moment ever, because leaving was the first time ever in my 7 years of being out of school that I was in such a position that I have put many, owning a school of my own, I've put many of them in that position without knowing that I have, because they feel like I did getting up in front of you, they'd feel that in front of me. So you know, it's that feeling of, wow, you know, here 2 weeks later, I'm 27. And at 27 years old with two kids and I'm hanging up wash outside because Joy's at work, and the FedEx truck pulls up at the end of my driveway. And back then, when a FedEx truck pulled up in your driveway, you were going to jail. you were being served, you know, papers to go to court or something. Because, I mean, not like now where FedEx is in my neighborhood all day long, right? So it was truly a moment that I share over and over and over and over and over again. And, you know, you really, I don't know where I'm going with this other than the story of how you started compass cutting is extremely important, I believe, as an icon to document, because there are going to be compass cutters, original ones, that are going to be watching this that probably wonder the same thing I do. What came first? The compass cutting that you created, or how did you know Paula? Like, how did
Oh,
that all
God.
happen?
Okay. Well, first of all, compass cutting started in 1980.
Okay.
And I started to work for Redken in 1990. So I got out of beauty school in 1975, and I followed, like I said, teaching. And so I went to work for Obius Hair Academies that were owned by Alan Bush at the time. So Alan was also, actually Tony brought Alan into Vidal Sassoon as a teacher trainee. And when Tony left, Alan was the director at Vidal Sassoon. So I knew him in beauty school. And so then after beauty school and having the revelation that I wanted to become a teacher, then I followed my mentor at the time. And so I came to Southern California. I had an old bright canary yellow Mustang and just the clothes on my back. And I said, started to drive south. And so I worked for Alan. And at the time, even at the Sassoon method, it was really all about angles, and Vidal was into architecture, and it was, it was the cut was king, and it was all about, hit just shook into place. So it wasn't a lot of hoopla. It was really an art form. And so the teaching aspect of the form was really how you understood sort of, planet Earth, if you will, the head, and then how the hair started to move and you're moving with it. And so I got taught how to see those angles, okay? And so then I was training at 25, I was starting to do shows, working in a hair academy, and then training others, doing teacher trainee courses. So by the time I was 28, I left, and we can talk about why I leave things. That could be a good question later. But I left, and I knew, and that was 1980, I knew I had to make it my own. That I couldn't just copy somebody. So everything in life is sort of you get information, but hopefully if you want to sort of reinvent yourself, you have to go this way, not that way. And so I went to the library and started to look into design. And from that, there was because here's what I found that wasn't working. Okay, so a whole bunch of stuff was working, but we were teaching just a method, just how to get there. It's almost like, let me teach you a haircut, and then everybody learns the haircut and all they do is go do the haircut. But you really want to know what's in the haircut. It's like hair color. You don't want to just learn the technique, you want to learn what's behind the thought process so that you can see it, okay? And so, there was two aspects. One was design, and then the other part was how do you see it? And so design is sort of like, how do I look at a haircut and know how to break it down? Just look at it and say, that's where you start, that point goes there. I can see the graduation. I know what to do. I just by looking at it. Okay, but then it was like, how do you teach the how-to? And so for me, it was a compass because it was something that related to kind of a roadmap, if you will, to get to a destination. So it's a visual, and then it's a breakdown, and then it's a procedure to sort of arrive. And so that's when I started, and I just started teaching and doing in-salon classes. And in fact, I found a picture just the other day, a black and white, you guys are gonna love this. I'm really aging myself now. An in-salon class with a chalkboard.
Oh.
And I'm teaching the compass in a salon, and I was like 28 years old with a chalkboard.
Oh,
Good for you,
You
girl.
gotta love that, right? I mean, there you have it. But I mean, to have those memories, really, I'm glad I have that picture because it reminds me.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, in all that you've said and what you've done since compass cutting, what would you say has been your biggest disappointment?
The lack of integrity of some of the people and companies that I worked for.
Fair enough.
We can leave it at that.
We certainly can leave it at that. But interesting. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you why, Chris, is because, and you know, anybody that's ever, you know, interviewed me for a position, I actually will raise that one thing that you have to know about me is that I take a pretty hard line on integrity. And I fight for that because I believe that you can always do better, that you should spend the right amount of money to get and be the best, and find good people, and to tell the truth. And so
That's a good answer.
Yeah. And it doesn't always happen, as we know.
no, it doesn't. And so sometimes you have to say sayonara.
Mm-hmm. So is that why when you said, oh, and that's why I left? So is that what kept happening, that you would come up against these scenarios that you just didn't gel with or believe in?
Yes. So, you know, I'm a fighter. I'm a bit of a rebel. And so being popular wasn't always, you know, something that really was important to me. And so I can say that it probably wasn't popular. I think I've been loved more after I left than actually. And I don't know, Joseph might say, "Oh my God, she was such a bitch," you know, but I don't know. I push.
That's not what I heard, Teri.
Good.
Anyone that I've been in the presence of when your name comes up has always been completely the opposite. They love and they respect you. So, but you know, people change, don't they? The heads of departments change, and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. We can go on and on and on about disappointment. But anyway, what have you got, Joseph?
I was waiting. I was watching you. I'm like, I see where the two of you are going with this. Come on, let's get this interview going. Let's make it hot.
Put it on the table, Don.
All right. First of all, I never thought you were a bitch. Matter of fact, Teri Donnelly, you barely knew me, but there was something about you that for the first time in my life, I felt like someone actually. I mean, you threw me the keys to your car and said, "Here, Joseph, go to the beach." I mean, I was like, what the hell?
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, you did. And you had a really cool car. I took care of it. I washed it. I vacuumed it out.
It wasn't my Mustang.
No, it wasn't. You had a really cool hatchback car. And matter of fact, I want to say Lynn Cooley drove us around in it. But anyway, that's besides the point. I never, ever thought that of you. Matter of fact, you know, not to favoritize who you are, but I believe that you've always, I mean, you have been there. I opened up that cancer salon at the hospital and you donated your product. I mean, who does that unless they really believe in who you are, in what, you know, you're doing and what your mission is. And I don't feel I'm done yet either, personally.
Well, you know what, Joseph, you know, you got to go through an audition, and I know you do that. You carry that on with giving that experience to others, that terrifying moment that we all sort of go through when we want to make the stretch. Okay, and so you and I were talking earlier that when I think if there was one thing about me in my career is that I have given people their first shot, a lot of them. And many of them said to me and still say to me that you saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And I think that that's probably my best work, is to be able to say that. And really, it is tough love. You know, I say the B word, but it's really tough love.
Yeah.
That you have to strike a balance of loving, but still getting back on the horse, or pushing, and so that you can, people don't give up, because a lot of people give up, and you know, not around me. You don't give up. So everybody crosses the finish line. Everybody gets there. But what people need to know is that everybody has different traits. And so don't look to compare yourself to somebody else. You have to know who you are. You have to discover who you are. And you want to be around other people that encourage the best in you.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you say, Teri, is the trait that you're proudest of that you have?
My trait. I think, you know, I'm just going to say that it's a commitment to me, is to help people reach their full potential. And it's kind of a double thing, because I get something out of that too, always, you know, in the giving is the getting. And so that has really been, I think, one of my greatest attributes, is that I really want to help other people to achieve what their given talents are. And so many times in my career, Joseph and I were talking about this, is that it's not whether you're in beauty school. I have met people that have been very lost, sort of, and to be able to, you know, you ask somebody, well, what do you think you're good at? And, you know, they're like, they're stuck for an answer. And so I sort of turn it around and say, how about I tell you what I think you're good at? Because I've been watching you, I've been working with you. And they really welcome that. It's just like, and so, I mean, I might suggest, I really don't think you're good at this, but I think you're really good over here in doing this. And so I've helped put people in different positions where I've actually seen them really take off and grow. And that's something I'm really proud of and feel really good about.
Do you feel, you know, when you look at, and I go back again, because I think I was unaware of the fact that you did Symposium. Was that prior to the Compass Cutting Group?
Oh, I started as artistic director for Redken in 1990. So I was recruited from a company called Image, where I went to work with Tony in 1985. And so I broke up with them. And I got a new beau and went over to Redken as artistic director. And I swear, the first one, Chris, you'll love this, because you come into the corporate world and I thought, oh God, I'm in IBM, you know? Everybody has little cubicles and things. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And so we started, you know, it was actually, Trevor was there at the time, because Redken had just bought Trevor Sorby. And so actually, Chris, I think you and I met at it was the Universal Amphitheater show.
Yeah.
And actually, that show with Trevor was one of the highlights of my all-time favorite moments. Was, here I am, artistic director. I've just had a standing ovation. You know, at the end, everybody's at the bar, and what am I doing? I'm backstage picking up costumes, you know, by myself, picking it up. And guess who's standing in the wing on stage is Trevor. So he came to find me to tell me how great I did. And that was just like, give me a great hug. And, you know, he's that kind of guy.
Wow, that's history making too then. So Trevor worked for Redken prior to?
No, he didn't work for Redken.
No, I'll clarify. So Redken bought the Traversorby of America company.
Okay.
And so that's why we were there. So we used to live in the States for like 4 months of the year during that time doing shows.
Started in England, right? And then he brought it over here?
Yeah, the companies began in the UK, but then he was asked by an American company if he was interested in there being a Traversorby of America, which is then what that side of it was. So that was when Vivian was on the team, and Ruth, and
so I'm going to
countless
ask
others.
this to both of you. I want to ask this to both of you as someone that really doesn't know, but only from what I've read. And obviously you girls are going to know the answer to this. So the obvious icon that has sat in the center of our kingdom and spun out all of these wonderful individuals was Vidal, pretty much. And is it true then that, was it Paula that brought him to the States, or what brought Vidal over to the States? Was it her?
Paula. It was Paula that brought her over, that brought him over, excuse me. Many years ago. And you know, what a vision she saw. I have to say, I think Paula was an incredible visionary of, she would just get these ideas, call us at 3 o'clock in the morning in the UK to say, I got another one, you know. But yeah, so, and then, you know, through all of that, she realized that the power is in education.
Right.
And I think if it hadn't been for Paula believing in that, I'm not sure that Redken Education would have ever got to where it is. And then, of course, Christine Schuster took it to yet another level, which is why it's still the best company, in my opinion, for education around the world.
So you were the first artistic director, Teri? Pretty much.
I think so. I don't know. I mean, there might have been one like in the 60s. I think I was the first. But Paula and Vidal were friends for a long time. But I wouldn't say that Vidal worked for Redken as a guest artist and actually worked around the world. But I wouldn't say that Paula brought Vidal over and from England, and Tony knows better than that, because that's a huge story in itself.
Sure. Yes.
But you know, I mean, it was. I think it started in, was it Lords and Taylor, Tony, in New York?
It was actually Charles of the Ritz. Vidal over and helped him open up his first salon in New York City.
Well, and I think that, you know, when you talk about education, I'm just going to tip it to Tony on this one, because he was working in the New York salon and was asked to come over by a gentleman named Robert Udell, who's passed, who was someone who I knew in beauty school because he ran the school in San Francisco and was sort of the education arm of Vidal Sassoon. And Tony actually worked with Pivot Point and traveled all around the States teaching the Vidal Sassoon method through Pivot Point.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how they gathered people. And so Tony was really a pioneer of the education for Vidal Sassoon. And then they opened the school. So, but all along, Paula and Vidal had a long friendship. And Vidal was definitely, to her credit, you know, she was an amazing lady that was an industry icon.
Yeah, and you two were close. I always thought you were her daughter.
Well, you know what? I think we had a really, okay, so I'm going to tell you a really funny story, and it's quick. But, you know, I think maybe she thought I was like a little Debbie. You know, people used to call me Little Debbie, you know. Debbie Reynolds was her best friend. And so they were really sort of running mates, if you will. And I think she liked me because I was, you know, feisty, and, you know, so was she. And, you know, I would go into these meetings and have ideas. And, you know, Christine Schuster always says, Teri, you have a zillion ideas, but, you know, that's what you have to do sometimes, because, you know, not all your ideas work. But so she really loved me, but to a point where I was almost like, don't love me that much. You know? So it was after the symposium once, and we were both at the same hotel, obviously, and I was so exhausted. I mean, I just was curled up by the pool. I didn't want to talk to anybody. And literally, I would see her walking, and I would be hiding, thinking, oh God, don't talk to me. I don't want to see you. I was hiding behind bushes. I actually went out of the hotel so that maybe I could ditch her. And I went around to the front of the hotel. And here, spirit has it, she comes walking right out the front. And I was like, oh, hi. And she was like, what are you doing? And I said, oh, you know, I'm getting ready to go to the airport. And she goes, perfect, you'll come with me. And I was like, ah. And I just said, okay, let's go. So she, you know, the limo pulls up, and I sit across from her, and she's like, no, come sit over here. And I go, no, eye contact is a really important thing. You know, I'm gonna stay, you know, I was always doing this, right? And then we got to the airport, and I said, we're both on the same flight. And so I just bit the bullet and said, you want to go have a Chardonnay? And she was like, yeah. So, so then I into tarot cards and stuff. And so she and I had a Chardonnay, and I did tarot cards, and she goes, give me a reading, Teri. And I said, okay, you know, I just let it all go. And so I started to tell her, I said, so don't tell me what's going on. I'm just going to tell you what I'm reading. And trust me, I know nothing. I just play cards. And so I gave her a reading, and she kept going, okay. And so it turns out that some of the stuff I said sort of transpired, but she was always into astrology, and you know, we found our way together, I guess. You know.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, she's a real person, you know.
Have you got your tarot cards there? You can give Joseph and I a reading.
I don't, but I know. No, I definitely think that you're I would say you're the Queen of Swords. And I would say Joseph is the Prince of Wands. Okay.
Oh.
So, Queen of Swords is someone who is very. She has an air about her. It's an air sign. I don't know what you are, but someone who has high ideals, doesn't take any bull, pretty much says it as it is. Probably not a lot of people get close to you. Joseph, on the other hand, is a completely open book with his heart right around his sleeve, whipping it out, you know, probably walks around with tissue, just, you know, he's so happy about, you know, everything. Anyway.
Well, thank you for that.
Oh, where do I send my money? Do you have Venmo?
Yeah, exactly. So, Teri, what's the worst job that you've ever done?
Okay. What's the worst job I've ever done? The worst, because you're saying worst. Okay, challenging. I'm thinking all the jobs.
Well,
okay. I mean, I worked construction. I mean, I was a ditch digger. So I was one of the first female hired in the state of California. And I went from the fashion world into a ditch with long blonde hair and a hard hat on that I painted flowers. And I'm working a jackhammer. I started off as the stop and slow girl. But I mean, I really was like, oh my God, how did I end up here? You know, but I actually wanted to just like maybe get a job. I was 19 and I thought, maybe I could just get my own truck and, I can be the meter reader girl that I see, that goes along. And I figured that'd be kind of a cool job. And so they said,
how long did you do that for?
6 months.
All right, no, but just, hold on a minute. I think that is so admirable.
Well,
I my hat off to you. I love.
You know what? There's so many stories I could tell you on that one. I would be bent over in a ditch, and this white collar guy would come up, and it was like right out of a movie. My hair flies up, my long hair with like something out of Flashdance or something. And he goes, "Oh my God, it's a woman," and I was like, "Yes." So I had those lines where a guy would get next to me in a ditch and he says, "Now what's a girl like you doing in a place like this?"
Man.
And I said, "Paying the rent."
Yeah.
Oh man, you know what? The first thing that comes.
That's amazing that you didn't mind what you did. You would just take any job on, and no, I'm serious, Terry. With those sort of situations, we learn so much that we would never have learned in another scenario.
Well, I think that there was one moment, you'll like this one, because you get out of work, and so I found myself at coming to Los Angeles and working for a couple of years, and then it was like, well, okay, so I'm not going to work in a hair academy, and I don't work in a salon. And this other girl that was with me, we were both instructors, and she said to me, "Let's go be Playboy bunnies." And I said, "What?" And she goes, no, let's just go and be Playboy bunnies, and we'll go and interview and try to be a Playboy bunny. And so I said, what the hell? Okay. So we went to the Playboy Club in Los Angeles, Century City. And I'd been a waitress before. I figured, what the heck, I could do this. And so I didn't get the job. But first you had to wear the Playboy bunny outfit. And they're either really big up here and small down here, or they're really big down there and they're really small up here. So I guess it was like hearts and pears. And I couldn't find an outfit that fit me, so we were stuffing and trying to make me work. And then you had to walk. And, I was a model at one point, so I thought I could do this. So I'm in my bunny outfit and I'm walking. And then they sit down and they interview you and they said, "Why do you want to be a Playboy bunny?" And I said, "Well, because, I'm out of work and I think this would be a great little job for me." And it was like, nope. It's like you've got to love, this is what you've got to, like the only thing in the world you wanted to be.
I mean, really? A Playboy bunny? Is that a career?
No, but it was a job. It was a job.
Yeah.
It was a job.
Oh, well, I think they did you a favor.
The world a favor, trust me. Yeah.
All right. I want to know, so there's a time capsule that is dug up in 100 years in the back of my school. And it's a list of icons and what it is that they want themselves to be recognized, known for, or maybe a footprint they left in the industry. What would yours read, Miss Teri, Miss TD?
Okay. So a bottle has washed up ashore or been dug up, whatever.
Time capsule got dug up.
Time capsule.
From Princess Juan's Academy.
I think if what was the question again?
A time
what would
capsule.
you want to be remembered for?
What do I want to be remembered for? I think my work. I know that sounds sort of in general, but I got into the beauty industry to make people look good and feel good. And every hairdresser, if you're watching, I hope you have that same legacy, is that's what we do. We all do that. And if I was remembered, it would be for teaching people how to be better at that. And that people are more than a haircut or, hair color. They are people inside. And so I realized 25 years ago when I left Redken, I did a show in Australia, and it was when Meg Ryan was wearing that sort of choppy mop cut.
Yep.
And I did a great haircut. And she was a beautiful model. And backstage, she said to me, she says, Teri, it's really cute, but it's just not me. And I was like, wow, who are you? And I mean, it was really more like, who the hell are you? What do you mean? What do you mean you don't know? And so then I realized that after all this time and teaching, I really didn't know anything about people. And so then I went on another journey of learning more about people and attracting other people into my life. So the law of attraction is something when we realize we need it, somehow we get it. And so then I started to learn about personality, and I started to become good at it, and reading people and teaching other people how to read other people based on how they talk, based on how the words that they choose, what they look, and how they act. And I got trained by other people on this. And so if I could be remembered, it would be to, first we all have to be better people. So if somebody said, wow, Teri helped me to be a better person. And then as a professional, if they would say, I was a better professional because of Teri. I'll end at that, that's enough.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. I love that.
Highlight.
Yeah, people are amazing. There's all different shapes, size, and colors, and they come from all over the world, and when you travel the world and you make friends and you see their world, I would encourage people to get out of their box or to get out of their space and, get uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is a good thing. And just be aware.
Yeah. And I think traveling and seeing cultures in other countries is such a incredible lesson for life that you can bring home with you and choose the bits of it that you would like to have in your salon or in your team. Yeah, it's we've been blessed, haven't we?
Oh my goodness. And to have friends all over the world, you get a rich life, and you don't have to travel the world. Travel your own neighborhood, go somewhere where you don't always go, and meet people that maybe are a little different than you, and have a conversation, and you might just realize how much you have more in common than you have, differences. And so it's a great teacher.
That's a great piece of advice. I love that. And I love that you said that, you can stay in your own neighborhood, but just a different part of it.
Right. Truly.
I think, again, taking care of mom. And I have this thing about little people and old people, and they're very much alike. They always say, like, the wisdom that comes from the mouth of babes, and you're thinking, did you just say that? And then, you have the silliness of and innocence of when you get older. Mom reads, she could read the cover of a magazine for hours. It's just hilarious. But I listen to her, and she'll have a conversation with herself. She'll read, I have this book called Believe, and she reads these little quotes, and she'll read something, and she'll stop and she goes, I don't know about that. Or she'll go, you're kidding. She's so into it. And
Yeah.
I just bear witness to that. And it's just so simple and so sweet. And, you know, there are many people around that you can just get even if it's just a tiny little bit, and it teaches you patience, joy, acceptance, you know, all the traits that'll make you a better person is to, you know, that's why God gave us, you know, 2 ears and 2 eyes and 1 mouth. Use them proportionately.
Well, right. Teri, it's been so wonderful to have you on iConixxx, and thank you for sharing all your great stories. I love the bunny girl one.
Mad at that.
I am.
And maybe, you know, we have another part of iConixxx which is called chain reaction, and it might be cool to have you interview Tony for our chain reaction.
Oh,
so we can tell you more about that.
That's a dangerous interview.
Hey,
okay.
It's going to be you and him. Joseph and I sit on the sidelines for those.
We get to watch and listen.
It would be lovely. And I think, as Joseph was saying, you know, that we need to have people like you, like Tony, who were there when this whole thing began. It was a revolution that should not be forgotten. You know?
Well, I think, you know, to give Tony and so many others, Christopher Brooker, who is a very good friend, and so many people that were, you know, quote, originals. I honestly would say that Tony would be the one, and I would suggest that you bring in some key people just to get the right history. Tony can give you a lineup of a few people, whether it's Morris Tidy, who was there in the beginning, even Trevor himself. You know, I mean, you have people that this last year, I was back in London about a year ago, and I got to spend, I had a great tour guide, Christopher Brooker, for 3 days. And we went to Bond Street. I said, I want to go to Bond Street. So 171 New Bond Street. Tony was 16 years old when he started there, and it was raining, and he's taking me through Mayfair and giving me, you know, the history, and I am just sucking it up. It was like, oh my God, in some way, I'm connected to this. And Joseph, because you're connected to me, you're connected to that.
Yes.
And we're all connected. And so Christopher and I are standing outside of, I think it's Winston's now or something. It's a jewelry store.
Yeah, it is Winston.
And I'm like this, looking in the window, and I'm going, oh my God, I saw pictures, and the salon was designed like this, and I can see the mezzanine. And these 2 men come up, and they were like, do you guys want to come in? And Christopher starts to say no, and I'm like, yes, I want to come in. So we went inside, and I was standing inside 171 Bond Street, that's now, it's a diamond store. And Christopher said to these gentlemen, we used to create diamonds here too.
Yeah.
Love it.
It was so wonderful.
See, yeah. I'm captivated by that history, and I believe that's what's not, and correct me if I'm wrong, I am connected to it, and I am connected to it, and thank you, Teri, because you helped me connect. So when I hear of all this talk, it's intriguing to me to see how far back can we really go with, can I say, individuals that are still with us.
It's a lineage.
Lineage.
Yeah.
It's a lineage.
Yeah. And certainly this
and
is.
You and I have talked about this, Joseph, and that is certainly a haircut doesn't look great unless it has great hair color. Okay? And hair color doesn't look great unless it has a great haircut. Mm-hmm. And so we are designers, and that is our medium is hair. And what is missing in the now, if I might kind of go out maybe with a bang here,
Just say it.
is that we've lost our way on the cutting side, from my perspective.
We have.
Okay, so I think color excelled and took off, and you know, a beautiful world, trust me, absolutely beautiful world. But you know, it's people are afraid of getting a haircut, and then you have people that don't give a haircut, and so it's like
Wow.
it used to be different.
Yeah.
No, Terry, I agree with you. It did used to be different. And I think, you know, this year that we're currently living in is a time like we've never experienced before. And maybe this will give us all a shake-up of what is important to us from here moving forward.
Right.
Well,
and then I think some people will get a haircut because that's the most important thing to them, and some people won't. You know, it's I think we just have to. We have a 9-year-old son, so for me at 67, that's quite something.
yeah.
And yeah, he's like, well, Chris, how come you don't know what Dragon Ball Z is? I'm
Right.
like, Dragon who?
Yeah.
But you know, it's my responsibility to allow him to educate me. And that's what I think about all of us as we move through our lives. Be open to be educated by people that are young. People
Oh God, yes.
now, you know, we can't turn back the clock and still have it like it was when we were, you know.
I think young people are, it's the shift, and it's every generation.
Exactly.
It's generational. And so I think if you're going to stay young, like you say, is to be young, to be aware of the young, to see through their eyes, and appreciate. There is an expression. So I'm not saying that that expression isn't good or bad. It's really not a judgment on that. It's just that there seems to be in training or whatever it is, from my perspective in hair cutting, you know, Stephen Moody is a good friend of mine, and I follow Stephen. And I just wrote to him, and I love to see his work. You see, it inspires me because nobody cuts geometric curly hair like he does. It's his style.
Yeah.
And so, do you have a style? Do you have, what is your work? And so, I think that that is a calling for every age group at any time, whether you're just starting out or you're, you know, you're still loving what you're doing. You know, it's, you reinvent and you keep the saw sharp.
Yeah.
Oh,
And keeping that saw sharp is what it's all about.
Yeah, baby.
get me started, but I will agree upon everything that you say right now. And I love color as well, but long unicorn hair color for some reason has taken to the youth, and that's all they want to do when they get to school. They do not see, because C is not there. There are, to me, I'm going to end it like this. You know, my daughter grew up with NSYNC. There was 5 of them in the band, but she would have done anything for, was it Justin? Was he in there or whatever? You know, my other daughter loved the other one. She loved, you know, they've got to have someone like we used to be.
Right.
Do you understand? Like when you built our group and Chris was a part of it, and friends that we have were on stage, and they would go to that show to see that person, and they would go back to the salon as I did and create that haircut. And it was never long. It was never long. It was always so detailed and close, like up in here. And Joy was always the one to get it. So now that has gone away, and I truly feel that it is my legacy to recreate something in the world of what you did, Teri. And not by myself, certainly not. But I do believe the students are ready and hungry to see a shorter haircut with really cool color and not the opposite. And I'll kind of leave it at that because we won't be done. I'll stay in touch with you. Tony, if you're there, please allow me to reach out to Teri to possibly get your information, and I can contact you and we can kind of talk about possibly doing a chain reaction. Or Tony, no offense to Teri,
you guys would be the first to do something like that, and I think it's awesome idea.
Yeah, I do too. So let's try to do it in 2021.
I have a suggestion though, and I don't know if you can do it because it's a technical.
The font will be bigger.
No. Yeah, right. Big. No, but can you put up design work, imagery while you talk about this? If you do a chain reaction and you want to talk history, why not see history?
Yes.
You can't do a presentation during Zoom.
Sorry?
You can't do a presentation during Zoom.
Yes,
but
you
Tony,
can. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Of course you can.
Oh, you can. Okay.
No, you can, yes.
Then what I would say is I would almost want to pre-talk to you guys so that we would have the pictures ready. Is that how we would do it?
Yeah, we can talk that through, Joseph. Andy and I can explain to you how it works, and then see how we could roll it out and so on. But Tony, if you'd be up for that, that would be great.
Sure, anything that supports Teri in her life.
Oh, it's not me, it's the industry. Trust me.
You see, I wanted to be a bunny as well. But the clothes wouldn't fit me either.
He's my business bunny, yeah.
Well, I want to.
Anyway, lovely to see you guys, and thank you so much for being part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teri.